Yo, what's going on guys? HyperX here. Welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, and today we are doing something fun. First things first, I'm joined by 269 and Paradise Central. How are you guys doing?
Hello!
I'm back.
It's good to have you guys back because today, now that we've had all the weapon previews and they've showed us some of what is coming in Sunbreak, we thought we would do a fun video today, and we are going to tier list rank the weapons currently. Now, before we go any further, I want to make it very clear, we have not played the game, we don't know what the weapons are like, we don't know if any of these cool looking new moves are actually any good. This is not a serious tier list, so the fun police out there, please be aware we're having some fun, alright? But purely based on the videos alone, we just want to talk about it because we've seen some cool new moves and we can speculate based on some of them that they may be good, they may not. So we're going to rank them today, basically. Alright, that's how it's going to go. Obviously, once the game comes out and we actually get to test them, I am sure this will drastically change because, let's be honest, Sword and Shield is going to be S tier. But anyway, that aside, I wanted to lay that out beforehand before anyone's like, excuse me, you haven't played the game, how are you ranking them? This is unacceptable behaviour. I want to make it clear. Anyway,
just a bit of banter, isn't it? Just having a bit of fun.
It's fun. It's fun. Fun is
we
what
like
it's all
to talk
about.
about the weapons, about Monster Hunter. Let us talk about Monster Hunter.
Exactly. So if you guys do enjoy this, I'd like to be super appreciated. As always, let us know what your ranking is down below. Let us know if you agree with us. Let us know if you disagree. And of course, keep it locked because we've got plenty of Sunbreak stuff coming your way. So, guys, to begin with, you know what? I feel like before we even have any debate, I feel like we just need to do this and put Longsword in S tier. Because, I mean...
That's a D tier one right there, come on. That belongs in
D tier.
I mean, I feel like that's just the elephant in the room. I feel like if we spend ages and ages talking around it, like everyone knows straight away, everyone's like, Longsword has been blessed.
No, but like the thing is, with Longsword being in S tier, that is not being disputed at the moment based on the previews. But like, how far below is the next weapon that was really good?
If we put,
like,
if we put that in S tier,
everything is like
nothing else. Yeah, nothing else is allowed to touch it.
Anyway,
you know what? Just to reinforce Longsword being S tier, apparently the Japanese description of the Silkbind move is, to my understanding, something along the lines of like, because when we read it in the English version, it says that if you get hit during the new Silkbind where you're like charging it, right?
Yes.
That you lose your charge. But it seems like you actually lose your charge, but you counter the attack.
Yeah.
So either way you win. You're charging to do a chop. If you get the chop through, you do big damage. If you don't, you lose a level, but you actually counter the attack anyway, so you kind of win, but less. So...
it's even more comfy.
Undisputable S tier, that like definitely.
Exactly. And you know what, right? Since we're putting this in the undisputable place, I feel like we need to set the benchmarks, right? S tier is Longsword, D tier is Lance.
Oh no!
I mean, come on, man.
No.
Lance got shot. You know, when I made this tier list, I was contemplating making like a Z tier because I was like, this is where it belongs. But I feel like everyone is someone even shared the other day on Twitter like the likes dislikes of the social media posts from like the Japanese posts, and Lance was, I think it had like 9,000 or 10,000 dislikes and only like 900 likes. So like our people are not happy. The people are not happy, basically.
Did you not see Skyward Thrust though?
Hey, I mean, look, I mean the thing is, we did say before, like Skyward Thrust could be amazing. It could be amazing, but currently, I think the biggest shambles is the fact that they gave you a new move which looks like your old move. All right, I'm just like, how? And the thing is, it wouldn't be so bad if you discovered this in the game, but it's like we're gonna present this in a video, and we're gonna say, hey, here's your new thing that looks like your old thing.
Dude, I feel so bad for the Lance mains out there. Like, well, you know, we can hold out hope. Maybe it will play really well. Maybe it will have damage. But until we actually play it, we can't really we're not definitively saying. We're just saying from what we've seen, but there's a slither of hope that maybe when you actually play the game, it's okay, but it's not looking good.
I do feel sorry for the two Lance mains out there.
There's a lot of Lance bros.
No, there's two, but they are sick players. Like Jiran Kurapeko is an amazing Lance player, and also there's that Japanese player who just like only hunts with Lance, who's also incredible. Like so like I want the weapon to be buffed for those two because like they are the Lance champions.
Yeah, but it really comes down to what do you want out of Silkbinds? What is the base of what you feel like a Silkbind should be? I feel like each weapon should have at least one really cool Silkbind that is like a go-to. So say like with the longsword, it's got a bunch of them to be fair, but like
Well, the
Axe
Longsword,
Hopper.
actually, they're all good.
Axe Hopper with the like Charge Blade, even though it does like deeps and stuff like that, Charge Blade isn't performing that well. It's still a very cool looking move.
Yeah.
I don't feel like the Lance has that much of that. It's just it's realistically just got like, oh, I'm gonna jump forward and then jump back type move, and that's the coolest one that it has.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree with you. I feel like as a benchmark, given that they're sort of dialing up the crazy in Rise, I feel like every weapon should have just an insane anime style move, and then maybe a grounded move for people that don't want to go insane. You know what it feels like, right? And again, I mean no disrespect, it's just a joke, it's just fun, but it feels like the person that controls Longsword just watches bare anime. Person that controls Lance watches the History Channel and is like, I want to be like the old school Lance, the people in who actually did battle. Therefore, we can't do too much. That's not me knocking history. Anyway. I feel like I have to caveat everything because someone's going to take what I say the wrong way. Anyway, let's talk about other weapons. Guys, pick a weapon.
Greatsword. That was another controversial one, and I think it's the first one that we can actually start on for like the changes. To be honest. Personally, for me, I think the Greatsword with that change goes into A tier. While it's changing the identity of the weapon, I think it's going to be really fun to play. So regardless of if people are super salty about it or whatever, I'm not a speedrunner or doing whatever or a purist of the Greatsword. But I know if I got a big sword in my hands and a monster's about to hit me and I've got like a little thing that can allow me to chop it back quite quickly with a counter, that's going to be awesome, and I'm going to be hitting like dunks and some craziness off of that. So yeah, it looks exciting to me.
I'm debating whether it's A or B though, because we're judging it based off the new silkbinds that we're shown in. Like maybe I shouldn't consider the already existing kit that it has, you know, because yes, it got the counter, but you could tackle beforehand, you could rage slash beforehand, you had ways to deal with being hit by the monster. Counter is still nice though. Is it B? Is it A? I feel like it's midway, but I'm happy for it to be an A. I think it could still be an A. Yeah,
it's debatable, but I'm happy with it being an A. I don't feel disgruntled. I don't feel like I need to demote it. I'm like it gets me excited because I prefer like faster hitting weapons, but I do always like the allure of like the Greatsword just wielding like this massive weapon. So having sort of a faster combo, assuming it's viable, then I think A is a good place. I think A is a good place. Paradise.
Well,
pick another weapon.
We have to do switch hacks next. We have to.
Go on. Where do you want to? You can have first dibs because it's your weapon.
I mean, this thing's definitely got to go A as well. This thing was missing a counter for like hundreds of hours of playing switch hacks. A counter was what we needed. We got it. We also got a really nice potential with the switch skill, the 2-stage morph / combo, whatever it's called. There's a really good potential move as well as an actual really good counter that it was missing in its moveset beforehand. It's got to go. It's got to go next to Greatsword.
I'm not.
You know what, right? Originally I was like, oh, maybe B tier, but you know what? The reason I might let you have A, because don't forget, I think we need to place them. We might have to readjust in a little bit, right?
True.
I feel like A is acceptable because not just the counter, it's also the fact that it gives you a quick way to get to amp state, which is, especially if you're running like one of the stun files and things like that, or the ones the impact ones that take quite a while to build up, like that is actually quite a game changer. So I will allow it tentatively.
Yeah, I just would have preferred something more so around like the zero sum like discharge move, because I feel like that's one of the coolest aspects of the switch X almost. But like, yeah, counter's fine. Like, yeah.
You know what would have been super anime, right? Imagine like you go to charge up a zero sum discharge, and then just before it like explodes, you disappear and appear behind the monster. And then they're like, bam.
That's too anime.
You just hold
That's too anime.
Like, you basically become like Valstrax, you jet engine away, you're like, and you're back, and you're like...
you know what, I've got a great one that they could have done for it, okay? So you know how in Zero Sum you latch on if you're charged, and then you tick and it explodes? What if you had some kind of Silkbind move where you give a buff or you latch on, and instead of ticking and exploding, it just keeps going for as long as until you get knocked off the monster until the Silkbind effect ends. Like maybe you get like 20 seconds where you just continuously like drill into them and like explode or something like that.
Insane.
And it would be
Yeah.
balanced because if the monster attacks and you get knocked off, then you get knocked off, so that's my
You
idea.
gotta do it when they're down.
Let's
innit?
make it
You
happen.
gotta do it.
All right,
Let's make it happen.
Let's keep it moving. I'm gonna pick one. No debates. Sword and Shield, S tier.
What did Sword and Shield get? Tell me
Listen,
what it got
we got
again.
Destroy Oil. Oils are back.
Yeah.
Back. That alone puts it in S tier, right?
Well,
Oils
hold on.
are
What does
back.
the oil do, Eric?
The oil makes it flinch more. The oil makes you do more damage.
So
the oil makes.
Does it do more damage, or is it just
no,
flinch
it's
more?
not. Hey, listen. But by flinching, you're putting the monster in a vulnerable state, therefore opening up to more damage. So by extension,
that's-
you're doing
okay.
more damage.
That's true.
See. Also, we got a new combo, which obviously I haven't tested yet, so I don't know if it's any good. But it could be good.
Well, let me
It
say
could be
this,
good.
okay? Wherever the longsword go, because the hammer basically has got destroy oil too. So wherever you put the sword and shield,
No.
the
Don't
hammer
play
might
this
have to
game.
go with it because they got the
no.
same. They got the same buff.
You know what it is? I think the Sword and Shield should go into A, and then everything else should move down, like below that, because I feel like the Sword and Shield isn't as good as the Longsword changes, because that's just god tier ascended, like Sajin, Ultra Instinct level. But it's definitely up there, and if the Longsword didn't exist, it would be an S tier type thing.
You know what?
That would be the best weapon choice.
But is
even though I'm
destroyer
also-
oil being ranked higher than literal like counter moves, weapons that never before got a counter?
But for the culture paradise,
culture, yeah.
the
Like,
culture. Do you know how many people wanted it back for the culture? It's just a hype
I'm not
moment.
disputing that. I'm not disputing that. But bringing back an old move versus giving a weapon a counter that it's never had before, I feel like it's apples and oranges.
Final Fantasy VII Remake or Final Fantasy 16? You're gonna vote for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Nostalgia's one hell of a thing. So definitely.
No, I can't dispute this.
We'll make these adjustments.
I hate to see it, but I'll go with it.
And I can't believe
Yeah.
I'm agreeing to letting Sword and Shield drop below the weep stick. But you know what? All right. We got some more weapons. So 2-6, you can choose one again now.
So what do we have left? Let's go for the Charge Blade because it's like
Okay.
yeah.
So Charge Blade got the interesting little like file thing that you can put on the monster's head and then detonate, which sounds potentially interesting, but until we get to test it, we won't know for certain. And what was the other one? I couldn't even remember. What was?
The other one is the guard like cancel thing. So like the block.
Oh yeah.
I think this goes into detail just based on like the changes. And I know
Whoa. I feel like it needs to have a lot to go alongside the Lance. The Lance got mega shafted.
Do you know how much like people are disliking the Charge Blade changes at the moment? Like it is like pretty bad out there.
All right, I'm gonna weigh in. All right, this thing's
Go
gotta
on.
go in D. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you know what? They just could have done better by it. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, like, people did raise a good point. Like, since they were bringing back so many moves from like Generations Ultimate, like, why did we not get the cool Energy Blade one? That was such a cool move. Like, for any of you guys that didn't play GU, like, you would literally like go to charge your files, and a huge giant Energy Blade would just come out the back of your shield, and you would just swipe with it. It was insanity. Like,
I would actually, if they brought that back, I would argue that maybe it should go S tier actually, because that was a really cool move.
I agree. I definitely agree. Yeah. It's all right. Okay, I'll allow. Yeah. It seems weird. It's a weird timeline to see Charge Blade in D tier, but hey, here we are. Paradise, take your pick.
We're gonna go for the bug stick, the insect glaive.
Oh.
Now, okay, this is going to be an interesting one to place. I already kind of feel like I know where it's gonna go, but you have to consider it got two new moves that are both like. Other weapons, they might have got one cool one, and the other one's like, well, we'll have to wait and see. But this thing looks like it's got two really good new moves. The Silk Bind, where you throw your bug and then you jump to it. It does big explosion, big damage. The other move where you have the Kinsect Slash, where you can basically have another like aerial attack, mid-air thing to do that also, and both of them synergize with like extracting or like the Kinsect attack uses them and then extracts as well. It got some really like functionally good stuff for the Insect Glaive.
You can see your biases coming through as you talk as well. So for the weapons that you don't like, you're like, I think this should go down a tier. For the weapons that you like really like, you're like, let me tell you about how good this move is.
let me preemptively place where I think Paradise is going to put it.
This is for me. It's definitely A or B. Okay. I would be okay with it being in B, but considering that it has 2 new moves, which we're basing it off of basically the new stuff, right? That are both functional and good for the playstyle that you want with the Insect Glaive, which is being in the air, doing cool stuff, and still dealing damage. So when it comes to like what it got in these trailers, I'm not sure that we can really argue that it didn't get 2 really cool things, whereas other ones may have only got 1.
I'm definitely conflicted because I really like the Yeet bug move because it looks like it just does chonky damage, which was definitely something that the Insect Glaive, while it does do like a lot of quick sustained damage, it didn't have that move where it was like, I'm just going to do that one massive hit, and that yeeting the bug towards the monster just looks like it flinches the monster and has that kind of epic feeling to you when you do unleash it almost. So it's between A and B for me. I'm leaning towards B, but Paradise is talking up, so I'm okay with it being in A.
Yeah, I don't think it's as comfortable with it being an A.
Yeah, I don't think it's as hyped as the SNS or changes almost, but is it better than the Greatsword changes? Is it better than the Switch X changes?
I don't know. When you phrase it that way, I mean, yeah. We might have to do some personal revisions afterwards, because I feel like when you phrase it that way, like I was okay with that. But then when you say like, I would have put Greatsword above it in terms of excitement factor.
Exactly.
Well, look, we can all agree that it's A or B. We'll come back to it. Because maybe the other weapons will need.
I feel like that Greatsword and the Insect Glaive need to do a little switcheries, but like we'll have to tweak at the end or something.
All right. Cool. We'll have a quick fire. Yeah, quick fire one swap.
Each person gets one swap at the end.
No sabotage swaps. They have to be strategic
no sabotage,
swaps.
yes.
We can't be putting Longsword in D tier. People are going to be questioning our existence. All right, I want to pick one quickly. Gunlance, right? You know what? So, I like the Gunlance, right? I have a lot of fun with the Gunlance, especially like the full burst playstyle. I think it's hell of a cool. They've got the really cool new move. Like I liked it in Rise anyway, but there is of course the difficulty that, despite all the cool looking stuff, it doesn't do a great deal of damage. You have to work really hard to like be efficient with the Gunlance, and it's got the cool new massive explosion move, which is cool, and I like the look of it. However, given that, of course, that unloads everything, and of course, Wyvern Fire goes on cooldown, I'm assuming you can't just use this back-to-back. Until we test it, we won't know. I do feel like that Silkbind move might be one of those situational ones that you can't actually use that frequently. Like, maybe you can use it, but when things are on cooldown, you're not going to get the maximal bonus. So I feel like, as cool as it looks, it might not actually perform as well. So I'm tempted to put it in...
Erupting Cannon is a buff, and we don't know how good the buff is yet. So, we're talking about the DPS being working really hard for it, but it's got a way to buff its DPS, as well as the new Silkbind move that could that should do massive damage if you unload everything, which it does.
Yeah, in theory.
Maybe that would make it, bring it up a notch. Who knows?
I'm still tempted to put it in C tier for now, only because... Again, we have to weigh this up against other weapons. It's definitely not as bad as some of the other ones, but it's definitely still not as hype as some of the higher ones. So I feel like C tier placement is potentially right. What do you think?
I agree with this.
I think the changes are good, but yeah, I think it's fair. I wasn't blown away by the Gunlance changes.
Fair enough. All right, cool. Pick another weapon, 2-6.
Let's go for the bow. Let's go for the bow. Bow changes. In terms of just the changes, like I know it's going to be good for the weapon, and it's probably going to outperform most other weapons based on the changes that have been made, but I can't say that I was too excited about the changes per se. I don't know how you guys felt. Like it just felt like...
Yeah. I'll chime in. I played an awful lot of bow because it was so powerful in Rise. Like it was... You did have to like have the right build, and you did have to learn, how to handle the combo. But once you got it down, you could destroy things. And in terms of like the new things that everything got, it didn't get anything extremely flashy and exciting, but it did get some very usable, cool new moves. You know, the stake thrust, which is like going to be super situational, like when you're in that melee range, and then the Butcher's Bind, which is the Silk Bind move, where you basically can chop off tails. You know, it's a really cool thing for it to have, but we are having to compare it against all the other cool stuff that everything else got, like weapons getting a counter for the first time, or like bringing back a really fan favorite thing like Destroyer Oil. It's just not quite up there to those things, but it's still good.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where to put it.
I think everything above like B has to have both of these things: utility and cool factor.
Yeah.
And it's got one of them, which is just a bunch of utility with the moves, but not necessarily like a huge amount of cool factor like aerial aim was, right? When we first saw aerial aim, you like jump up in the air, unleash a burst of arrows. That is like a super cool like move. But the utility of the stake for us, like being able to deal more damage, that's awesome. And the Butcher's Bind, the bow essentially being able to sever tails now is going to be awesome for bow users, but I wouldn't say it's like the coolest move there that you're going to be blown away every time that you press that button.
Do you know what it is? I think because the bow could sever tails beforehand with piercing shots, right? I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And so if I feel like that...
I'm not sure about that one.
I think it could. It was just you would never do it because you like if you're solo, you'd have to work so hard for it. But I let us know in the comments if you can.
It was Dragon Piercer that could do it, but not piercing ammo. Right?
Yeah, that's the one. That's what. Yeah, no, sorry, you're right. But it means that it did have a tail cut capability beforehand, as well as with the melee slash, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's really cool that you can do that at range now, and that's going to be really good. But it's not like, oh well, now the bow can cut tails, because it could do it before. It was just really like. You really wouldn't.
Yeah.
True. What are we thinking? Thinking C?
Yeah. I don't want to put it into C because I feel like the bow user is going to be mad that we put it into C. But it's between C and B, guys. Like we're not too sure where to put it, but it isn't super like mind blowing. And I hope you guys agree.
Again, just to reiterate what people are saying, this is not based on having played the game and the actual performance. This is based on we've seen the previews. And do the weapons have the two things? The really cool, exciting factor where you watched your weapon preview and you got excited because you were like, yes, this is insane. Like you think about when they announced oils and everyone took to Twitter and they're like, oils are back. And also, do you have things with the utility? Bow is unquestionably going to have the damage, but I didn't finish the bow video like, damn, like let me make a gif out of this and post it to Twitter. So
exactly.
I feel like, yeah.
I will say I did do a clip of it and post it to Twitter because I did think it was quite cool with the with the Butcher's Bind.
Yeah, but you post all the clips on Twitter.
Exactly.
Every video you post on Twitter. So let's go with that
true.
Let's do this. Right, okay, cool. So I'm going to use that same logic to apply for Hunting Horn, right? Because Hunting Horn, same thing, right? It has definitely insane utility. Hunting Horn is powerful. Hunting Horn is fantastic. And now that you have the ability to basically increase the number of hits you're doing once you've buffed it up, is no doubt going to be a meaty damage boost. But it didn't really have anything super exciting because especially the move...
No cool factor there. It was a good buff. The other move was just like a repositioning attack. Like you didn't, like you say, you didn't walk away from that trailer and think, I cannot wait to like switch main to Hunting Horn and try out those silk moves. You saw it and you thought, it's pretty cool. Hunting Horn's going to be... got a good buff. It's gonna still be.
And it got a sideways move as well. Like it's a kind of thing where it's like, like I had to go back and remind myself what the Hunting Horn got versus the Longsword, the Sword of the Shield, the Insect Glaive, the Greatsword, and the Switch Axe are baked into my mind. I can recite that because I just know it already. Like these ones, I'm just like, I can't remember what the video did, and I made the videos. I edited the videos for these things, so I should know them more than most people. So I say C.
I agree. We got to do dual blades next.
Okay,
the dualies. All right. So I'll just say one word: spiral slash. A move brought back, just like Destroyer Oil was brought back, but it's flashy. It's cool. It's basically Attack on Titan Levi. Dual blades, aerial style. It's an aerial style move. It plays into that. I think it got the flashy. I think it got the.
D
for dual
flashiness.
D for dual blades.
We got the utility because it's like a multi-hit move, so it's
Paradise bias is coming in again. He's like, let me just present this case to you.
Let me lay the facts
I
on
like
the
the
table.
spiral slash, so I feel like it will sit in like C, maybe. Yeah, C, maybe. I don't feel like the changes are crazy, and it depends on what the uptime is for the spiral slash and like how often you can necessarily do that. Like a lot of these moves that we've seen, again, I'm going to reiterate, we don't know the motion values, and we don't know how many silk buying like points it actually takes to execute as well, because that's greatly going to determine like the utility of the move. But it's definitely got a cool factor in the spiral thrust. Like
I'm happy with it to be in C, and I'll tell you why. Because the switch skill that it got was kind of like a side grade, like a move that already it has, just when only when you're in demon mode. Like, so it's like I can agree with that. It got one cool and it got one like confusing one. So
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
What's wrong with that? Okay, cool. What about the light bowgun? The light bowgun.
light bowgun.
Yeah.
What did light bowgun even get? Like
Light
I
bowgun
forgot
got the
that.
ability to evacuate. It basically got an ejector seat, right? For
Got
when
a
it's dangerous. I mean, yes, okay, it's called a counter. I know, but it's basically. But they said the damage isn't much, so let's be honest. It's basically just a "I'm in danger, save me." So they got a get out of jail free card, and they also got a buff to damage based on like being closer to the
critical
monster.
distance.
So like it's definitely got utility, 100%. So it ticks that box. But I didn't think anything was super. I mean, when you factor in when we saw a Rise. And you got the Tokyo Drift where you fire out the Y bar and you're literally sliding across the ground like bam, 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 bam. And now we're just like, yo, I'm out. See ya.
Yeah, true. You've kind of really got that already, don't you? With the other moves, right? With the fanning moves, basically. So, yeah, I would say it's like a C tier thing, but with like critical firepower, that's going to dramatically increase the DPS that anybody is going to be doing with that weapon. So it is a very good move to have. But again, not necessarily super exciting to execute. There's so much that they could do with this weapon in terms of like shooting. I want to feel like Legolas. I know it's not necessarily a bow, but like just running around shooting, doing craziness with this weapon and remaining mobile is like the cool thing here.
100%.
I agree.
But it wasn't enough
agree.
of that. Yeah.
It's one of those ones where it's just not that exciting, but it's going to actually be very good to have.
Yeah. That's why I feel like it'll be interesting, because this tier list is purely based on like cool excitement factor, and then as soon as we play the game, it's probably going to be drastically different. So we will revisit this, and it'll be interesting to see just how different they really are. And I feel like the same thing applies to Heavy Bowgun then, because Heavy Bowgun is exciting, right? But I feel like it's exciting from a different way. It's exciting from a nostalgia reason, because obviously the return of the stuff, which is basically Valor style bowgun from Generations, which was insanely powerful. Obviously, we don't know if it'll be just as powerful given how broken it was. And you have, of course, the ring you can fire through for like the damage. So there's a lot of like it's stacks of utility. But again, it didn't. I mean, but I do feel like
it was actually really cool. It's actually really cool that it's back, because I feel like that's what was missing from the Heavy Bowgun. I know that people were like excited when it dropped as well. Like I was particularly excited to see that back. It just means that you can sit down, just unleash crazy amounts of ammo in the monster's direction and do that damage. So yeah, I feel like this is pretty good. What do you think?
I think you have to account for the fact that it got two things that are both not only usable but potentially really good. Obviously, crouching shot, we kind of expect that to be really good, but setting sun, the ring that basically enhances the like multi-shot ammo that goes through it, you've got a really good synergy right there. You setting sun, you crouch shot, you deal, you shoot loads, you deal big damage. Your shots go quicker because of crouch shot. They get buffed by setting sun. Maybe even like I think you talked before in one of the videos, Arix, that can 4 people put a setting sun and it stacks all together and it's going to be absolutely mental. Like this is 2 new things that it got that are, one's a returning one that people obviously love, and the other one is gonna like functionally potentially be quite good. I think it definitely should be B.
Okay.
I wonder if setting sun works with like other people's projectiles as well. Like say if a bow user standing behind you in setting sun, is that like
what if you throw your kinsect through it?
Yeah, true.
Bam! That would be insane. True. Okay, alright. So, finally, Hammer. So, Hammer, of course, it got a buff that is basically Destroy Oil, but it was a little bit less exciting because the way you do the buff looks like it just borrowed the move from Hunting Horn. They were like, let me just borrow your animation because I ran out of time. So, but this and the same logic that I applied to the previous one, I can't even remember, having made the video, what the other move was. Wait, what's the other move?
It was the spinning bludgeon charge, right?
Oh, yeah. So
this
potentially
could functionally be quite good.
Yeah, because it adds some utility into the spin. Like spin a lot of the time people wouldn't always use because it leaves you kind of vulnerable. But the fact that you can charge while spinning is cool behavior. Like Hammer, I feel like Hammer had a lot of interesting potential in Rise, with obviously the different stances, the strength stance, the other stance, of course, the fact that you can dash back between them to get instant level 3. But I feel at the same time it kind of just like wasn't used properly. Maybe it was like one of those unsung heroes. But
yeah, you know what? It's not the most exciting. But the fact that it's got like very good utility and then a bunch of potential with the fact that you can like hold the charges and do consecutive like level 3 charges, this could be what the Hammer needs. But I didn't get super excited when I actually saw it.
I think it's got to go S tier, boys.
Whoa.
I think it's a B tier thing. Like where it's, but I don't know where you guys want to put it. So
I think B tier's good.
Yeah, but I think if that's going to be in B tier, I think we might have to just reassess a couple of these because I feel like now Greatsword and Switch Axe might have to boost up a little bit, and then A tier might have to get a bit cozy because.
Well, we've all got one swap.
Ooh, okay. Who wants to go first? I'm going last, by the way. In case someone tries to sabotage me, so I need to restore order.
We've all got one swap, right? Okay. Let me see if there's anything else I would want to swap. So Lance, kind of where it needs to be. Childblade is where it needs to be. The only thing that really sticks out to me here is like the Insect Glaive and the Greatsword being in that kind of thing. I feel like those two need to be basically like swapped around. So I would like to move the Greatsword up to A tier and the Insect Glaive down.
Well, you have two. You have one movement. You can't switch.
Oh, is it one movement? I thought it's a swap, not a swap. Okay.
We have to define the rules on about the swap. Is it a move or a swap?
Okay, it's a swap. It's a swap. Okay,
it's a switch skill.
Hey. All right. Cool. Paradise.
Yeah. Oh.
I feel like we've set ourselves up for failure though, because it has to be a swap, right? It now means if Paradise wants Insect Glaive back in A, something has to be sacrificed.
Look, I'm gonna be moving Switch Axe, but I have to think, what am I swapping it for?
They're two like very good weapons.
This is really challenging because I have to think like S&S or Greatsword in A. I'm gonna put Switch Axe in A. I feel like it needs it. It was missing the counter for so long. Switch Axe is such a cool weapon. If I take S&S down, I reckon Arix is just gonna swap them back, and it will be all for nothing.
You never know. What do you mean? Why would I do such a thing?
So you better not swap something to S tier. Actually, I might have to do this because then he can't put S&S in S tier. Because he might try and do a little cheeky swap with LS. So I'm going to put Switch Axe, swap it with Sword and Shield.
Oh, all right. I said it's my turn. I'm putting Sword and Shield back. Yeah! We're done.
I'll take it.
We're done.
There we go. Right.
At least it's not an S tier.
No, I mean, I feel like we did say before we can't do sabotage rules, so I feel like that's. But no, you know what? I'm kind of comfy with that. I feel like it's a decent list, based on again purely for fun. Based on like our excitement, our feelings following the trailers, what got us excited. Obviously, there's plenty more stuff to discover. Once we actually play with this stuff, we'll have very different opinions, I imagine. But that is it. So, any sort of passing, rounding out thoughts, guys, before we wrap up?
Well, you can check out all of our HyperX like discount codes and stuff, right? Because we've got like a whole discount code and we got like a bunch of products. Alex will pop it up on the screen here. I think they've released some new keycaps as well, so guys, check that stuff out if you haven't.
Some of that stuff isn't
HyperX.
necessarily all available there, but if you click the link, then if you go to, we'll take any of that stuff to check out and you type in code ARIX, you can save yourself a little bit of moolah, some zenny.
You know, I want to say for the people that have stuck through and are still watching, remember guys, this is just for fun. This is just a fun list. That's what I wanted to say.
Hey guys, I think it's just for fun. We said it like 10 million times.
No, they're already writing their Reddit post. They're like, these guys don't know what they're doing. Anyway, that's it, guys. If you guys stuck to the end, let us know in the comments down below. I know it's a little bit of a longer video, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you'd like to see more of this stuff when the game comes out and we actually have tried the weapons, let us know. If you missed some of our recent videos, be sure to check out one of these ones, and we'll catch you guys very soon.